Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are, of course, here in our 88.1 The Berg studio today with Director Mike Fong. Mike Fong, of course, joining us today from the Washington Department of Commerce. It's great to have you in the studio, and it's really just great to be able to have one of these interviews, sit down during the summertime while it's still a little bit relaxed around here, and get a chance to have a real unique opportunity to speak with you today. Of course, Director Fong, if you'd like to go ahead and just explain a little bit of what it is that you do with the Department of Commerce, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, thanks, Ryan, and thanks for having me on today.
Of course.
State Department of Commerce is an agency under the Washington State government, and we have a fairly unique and large portfolio of programs and services that we invest in and support communities, really. At the end of the day, it's our mantra is strengthening communities, empowering communities, and we're very fortunate to have resources from the state, federal government to be able to make very strong and hopefully targeted investments that help build community, including right here in Ellensburg, every day in every part of the ecosystem.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And, for those that may not be exactly too familiar with what the Department of Commerce does, maybe they're just a little bit more familiar with what their local chamber might be up to. Could you explain a little bit of what the department's all about?
Yeah, you bet. And most of the time when people think of commerce, they think of the traditional economic development programs, such as business development and attraction, international trade, and we do a lot of that work. We have the responsibility for the state to support local governments and private industry around economic development activity. But here in Washington, we define the health and opportunity around economic development, community development, a lot more holistically. So the Department of Commerce also invests millions of dollars into affordable housing. We have a significant responsibility around working with local governments and supporting infrastructure investments, pipes, opening up streets, plumbing. We have lots of dollars that go into work like that. We also are responsible for investing huge federal grant that we have to have more broadband across the state. And we also have programs that are right now, particularly salient right now, around clean energy, solar panels, heat pumps, other kinds of renewable energy investments, which is also a big driver of economic development of the state. So for us, it's a very broad and wide-ranging portfolio of work, and most of what we do may not always be super visible under the banner of state commerce, because we work mostly through contracting our services to nonprofits, industry organizations to help us deliver on those commitments.
Of course. And you spoke about a couple of different grants that have been available to the department and how it is that you guys kind of get those out to where it may be needed. I'm wondering, where does the majority of funding for the department come from?
Well, a vast majority of it comes from state resources, general taxpayer dollars. Some of it comes from very specific revenue streams like the Climate Commitment Act and funding that's specifically focused on really the state's green economic transformation and a clean energy future. We also get a lot of money from the federal government in terms of grants that we apply for and secure from Department of Energy or EPA or other federal agencies. And then we go ahead and take those resources and then, as I mentioned earlier, mostly contract them directly to community organizations that are on the ground. And part of that is we really feel like local trusted partners, empowering local governments, getting these dollars to regional entities that really know their communities best, have the trusted relationships, is the best way to really meet the needs in the communities directly. So that's usually how our funding works, and hopefully we can continue to do that good work here and elsewhere across the state.
Absolutely. And earlier you had mentioned how sometimes it's kind of like the Commerce Department, the actions, sometimes they can fall under an umbrella, and it's hard to kind of individually see which ones are the department and which could be other things. What I'm wondering is, can you think of any policies or anything that may affect the people of Kittitas County that they could think of?
Sure. Well, for instance, I know one of the great organizations we work with here that contracts for a number of services and programs that we have is Hope Source. And so they're one of our community action partners, and they help us deliver a whole host of services, everything from energy utility assistance, for people that may need some one-time support around their energy bills, to affordable housing and helping people find opportunities for for housing and also support for subsidized rent. We also have a number of programs that they can help us around food banks or other kinds of supports for community safety net type services. So you'll probably not necessarily recognize us as state commerce in your community, but the programs and services that we are supporting usually are manifested through other more localized providers. We work very closely with the City of Ellensburg and have supported a number of projects for them that include affordable housing, Habitat for Humanity support, but also on-the-ground infrastructure type investments, things that help the city replace and repair roads and deal with underground infrastructure, all the things that are necessary to try to help support keeping Ellensburg and Kittitas County a vibrant and welcoming place for folks.
Absolutely. And I'm wondering, one big thing that kind of comes to me is, the idea that, while a lot of these policies are affecting the local government, the local areas that people may be in, what I'm really wondering is if somebody feels as though their area could qualify for some sort of support from Commerce, how can they get familiarized with the department and how can they make sure that that support gets where they feel it may be needed?
Sure. Well, the easiest thing to do is to get online and get on our website, commerce.wa.gov. And there you'll see the full portfolio of things that we've been talking about. And much of the programming, like I said, is usually going to be passed through an organization or a local entity where the whole range of services we've been talking about can be available based on various income or qualification thresholds. But also, if there's an organization or an entity out there listening today, it could be even a campus organization for that matter, that might be looking at, one of the initiatives or things that, we may be funding, and, they may want to apply for a grant or work with some of our team to kind of see where they could plug in. And that's the beauty of, having a department that has lots of different resources, lots of different grant programs that are available, everything from, like we talked about, sort of social service, safety net kind of service delivery, but also to clean tech, green energy projects. In fact, a lot of the things that we do have pretty good synergy with some of the initiatives that here at Central are really focused on a sustainable, environmentally friendly focused campus. The opportunity to support local business entrepreneurship development. The recognition that your campus is growing in terms of its diversity and the need to have equitable investment of services. We're in that space. And, check us out on the website, commerce.wa.gov, and there might be something that fits a personal need, but it may be something also fits something that, organization or group that's interested in doing. Let's see if there's a partnership opportunity.
Absolutely. And Director Fong, I've got one last question for you today. This one, a little bit more geared toward the personal side of things.
Sure.
I was looking into a couple of the things that you've been able to do in your past, and one thing that really stood out to me was you're serving as a regional administrator for the SBA, or the Small Business Association, and what I'm or administration, my bad. But what I'm really wondering here is, in the Pacific Northwest, of course, you've been around for a while and you've had a lot of time to look at what issues we may have or how things need to be addressed. What I'm really wondering is, how do you feel as though this prior position has helped you with the broader scope of what you do now?
Well, it's a great question, and I've been very fortunate to have some pretty interesting opportunities over the last 20 years in public service. And you mentioned SBA as regional administrator, which is an opportunity for me to, and at a time when we were still recovering from the pandemic, to really focus efforts around working with small businesses, not just in Washington State, but really across the entire Pacific Northwest in Alaska, Oregon, and Idaho. And of course, much of my career was in the city of Seattle as deputy mayor, among other roles, and was able to really see the context of the issues in a very local sense in terms of Seattle's needs. So the beauty of having that broad lens is it's given me a newfound appreciation for the importance of local solutions and local needs. Every community is different. Every community has a different set of challenges and issues, and no, there is no one size fits all, right? So and in here at Commerce, our portfolio is built to really adapt and meet what local challenges are. And and we're working even today, this morning, having a chance to meet with city manager, county commissioners, your administrative folks here at CWU, is an opportunity for us to uniquely position how we can partner together to focus on local needs in this community and how we can adapt and fill some gaps. The most important thing is how we bring value add to the conversation. And I think hopefully that experience helps me have that appreciation, and hopefully coming out of this trip, we have some new projects we can work on together.
Absolutely. And Director Fong, that's all I've got for you today, but it was great being able to speak with you today. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to go ahead and wrap up our first interview of the year with Washington State Department of Commerce Director Mike Fong. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Ryan. Hey, go Wildcats.
All righty. Well,